It's the same story on repeat with Lucasfilm. The same scam, the same trick. I'm sorry, I cannot be excited about this game, and honestly, I don't think you should be either. Yes, the trailer looked nice. Yes, there were cool little nods to the Knights of the Old Republic games, but what does that even mean anymore? A pretty cinematic doesn't mean a game exists. A logo doesn't mean the team is ready getting this thing made. At this point, a trailer means nothing unless it shows gameplay and a definitive release date. In fact, we just learned that the studio making this game is a startup studio and it is still in early development stages. Jason Schreier thinks that optimistically this game will be released in 2030, and that's at the earliest, most optimistic date. You're telling me they revealed a game that's going to be released on a console that hasn't even been made yet? We need to remember, these trailers aren't made for us, they're made for shareholders. They're there so some out-of-touch executive can sit in a little meeting and go, see guys, we have big plans for Star Wars in the pipeline, no need to worry, keep the money flowing. Meanwhile, we are out here dissecting every frame, zooming in, and talking about it nonstop, and I'm sure some people on YouTube are making lore breakdown videos on something that isn't even a prototype yet. How many times have we seen this played out? How many times do they roll out a vague, pre-rendered cinematic trailer, say a bunch of nothing, and then vanish it into the void? We saw it with Eclipse. The trailer was crazy. It broke the internet. We got millions and millions of views, more views than even like Ahsoka and Mandalorian. Tons of reaction videos. The hype for that game was up there with The Force Awakens. And then what happened? Silence. We had studio drama. We had stupid controversies from some moron. We had delay after delay after delay, and every once in a while, they will say, we're still committed to the project with absolutely nothing to show for it. And if I need to remind you, we saw the same thing with the KOTOR remake. It was a massive reveal during the PlayStation 5 showcase. It had everyone losing their mind. This game was supposed to be the big one for the new consoles, and now, just years and years later, we're at the point where people are joking that we'll get KOTOR 3 before they even finishing remaking KOTOR 1. How does that make any sense? We can't even get a remake of a 20-year-old game without it collapsing under mismanagement. What's happening here is simple, guys. They are simply leaning on the emotional weight of the original Old Republic games, and they know what those things mean to us. They know Star Wars fans will be swayed by any form of fan service, no matter the quality. So they're giving us this trailer without committing to actually releasing this thing in any sort of reasonable time frame. They're trying to surf on the nostalgia wave while Star Wars as a brand is crumbling under its feet. And now they basically just want us to forget about all of that and just look forward to now Fate of the Old Republic as if nothing has been happening this past decade. They're treating it as if we didn't just watch two huge projects disappear into development hell, or as if we're not living in a world where a new Star Wars movie gets announced and then another one gets canceled every single month, or as if the interest of the brand is at all-time lows. I mean, guys, this is a company that gave us the Acolyte and then tried to turn all criticism into some big discourse shield instead of just admitting its faults. I get it. The Old Republic would be great to have with today's technology and hardware. I get it. So I understand why people are freaking out over this, but I'm here to tell you we need to try to bring a logical and reasonable reaction to this, because it seems like any Star Wars project that isn't with the same three characters, it seems like those all get canceled or delayed indefinitely. I mean, look at Star Wars Eclipse, the KOTOR remake, and then all these different movies that get announced on shelves. It's the same story over and over and over again. I don't see why we should expect a different outcome this time. Maybe it will get released, maybe it's different this time, but it's going to be at least half a decade before that happens. And really, it's not that the single player games we have gotten for Star Wars are bad, because they're really not. The Jedi games, they're genuinely great. The problem isn't quality, it's the volume, it's the scope. It's that Star Wars is a galaxy with thousands of years of history, tons of eras, endless factions and characters and stories, and somehow all the games we get are stuck in the same tiny window of time, just drip-fed once every few years if we're lucky. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order 3, Jedi Survivor, whatever you want to call it, the third Jedi game still doesn't even have an official announcement or reveal, so we'll be lucky if that gets released in 2027. But then again, EA did just get bought out by the Saudis, so, I mean, who knows where that takes us. So, best case scenario for Fate of the Old Republic. Best case scenario, the game is real, it does release, and it's actually a good game, but we have to play it on a console that doesn't even exist yet. Worst case scenario, it goes the way of Star Wars Eclipse and the KOTOR remake, and Fate of the Old Republic becomes fate of another canceled Star Wars project. Here's the thing, if Lucasfilm wants me to care, then they need to show us a game that is releasing within 2 years, a game that has gameplay, a game that is actually real, something that has a foundation, because as far as I know, this game doesn't even really exist and is still in the whiteboard stage. Guys, I'm not telling you to boycott it. I'm not telling you to hate it. I'm telling you, don't sell your soul for this generic cinematic that banks on the hype of nostalgia. Trust is gone with the brand. And yes, one day it can return, but for right now, our trust and excitement needs to be earned. Because here's the deal. You want me to believe in Fate of the Old Republic, if you want me to care, then you got to show me something real. Show me even a heads-up display. Show me just some build running on actual hardware. Show me a release window that isn't just sometime before the heat death of the universe happens. Because until then, it's not really a game. It's just a cinematic that's meant to please the shareholders. And that's where I stand with this. I know not everyone's going to agree, and that is perfectly fine. I'm just trying to be objective and logical, given the history of Lucasfilm and especially Lucasfilm Star Wars games. I hope the game happens, and I hope it's amazing. But until then, we have to be logical. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
News to say, I keep a check.